Okay. Tezai. Aisharas Hakmi was betchunos, the straightening one's distortions in characteristics, bedeos, in deos can mean depending on who's talking, it can mean midos, it can mean opinions, it can mean many things. So the this the Bashkafas Achaim in the perspective on life, Adlalios Hakodesh Amulos until the rising to the highest heights of holiness. It's kind of penetrate. Oh, let's do that again. I didn't have my microphone on. Sorry, hold on a second.
Yeah,
I know you could hear me before.
yeah, I
Uh,
can hear you fine.
you could hear me before?
Yeah,
Before? Okay. So so the so it's cookie lachdor b'shrash matachtim. It's got to penetrate to the lowest roots. B'imam la'los tfias to get up to highest the spheros. So it's got to go deep down and the highest realms of the spheros. Shehi sparts lios shotos latzman when the it's interesting terminology when the when something branches apart. It means parcel, it separates. Trying to think of the good English word for that. Uh, I know the splits. I can't think of a better word right now. When the splits govern for themselves, they machiros machachalkalos. They make things polluted and they penetrate in a negative way. Mizamos, the machir means to make dark. Mizamos means more to pollute. Umegashmos, and they coarsen hakshamaga with a very coarse materialism. The materialism in the United States, a materialistic pursuit of something, but not the opposite of spirituality. Zuama, as called Avir Chaim. I'm not sure. I should say I have no idea. I'm not sure what he's talking about. It's it's I think it says that when the deepest roots are severed from the highest spheres, then it's everything is going to be distorted and darkened and made coarse, and it's called V'Yarachayim. The entire air of life is going to be ruined. Uh, when they are the opposite split, when they're fused, when spatlos b'tchanim shememalohem, and they're negated to the content which is above them, belos bal yasan, and go up with their with the I get when they get uplifted, and we'll see both or b'chaim. They add the they add light and life, Torah v'kodesh, purity and holiness, ometz v'siferes, courage and glory bako. Okay, so the shroshim atachtim are evidently the issue here. And shroshim atachtim, if they're split off from the higher spheros kavos, then they're very bad. If they're connected, they're very good. Yisod nitzchi hu v'avtas Hashem Elokecha v'chol avavcha b'shnei tzarecha. The eternal foundation principle is that you have to love God with all your heart, with both of your tzarim, b'yetzatov, yetzatov, and yetzorah. Havoy neshlamah, the love is not complete. Um, your family, and it doesn't emanate properly from the source of pure unity. So the Shloshim Tachtim evidently are the Yitzarim, and they have to be connected with the Yetzer Hara, the Yetzer Tov. The Yetzer Misagedim Yetzer Tov. It unifies. And all of its negative forces are seized onto the positive root. When it's happening to them, they become good. To shine, to enliven life. Here to clarify as a cake and refine. So all the koichos haroim themselves have a positive impact on the koichos hatovim. it's not that they are subjugated, they become submissive, but rather they themselves, I think the term is sublimated, but I think it's more than that. I mean, they themselves are a drive to uplift oneself even further. So, to just give an example, I think that obviously Rav Kook is saying this in a very lofty way, but this concept of gaiva kedusha. In other words, a person uses the meat of gaiva, which is a very bad midah, but uses it for holiness, for positive purposes. I just saw yesterday, I was learning with the Chabrusa, Orchot Tzadikim. And Orchot Tzadikim talks about how gaiva toiva, the good gaiva. And good gaiva is gaiva which you use in order to uplift oneself. And among them, he says, good hygiene is good gaiva. Being somebody who uses their midah to be naki, to be clean, in a very simple form. That is, so there's a drive to look nice, presentable, look good. That in of itself can be a way of achieving more kedusha. So something which we would think is the Yetzer Hara, even of gaiva, which is the worst Yetzer Hara, it's something which, when it gives a person self-confidence, self-esteem, and all those other good midos, so then actually it is a positive thing. So I think he's saying that in a very fancy way. I think that's the idea which he's expressing here. And that he's trying to give it a poetic and spiritual aspect. A good thing. But I think that that's the principle here. And so he says, Darvazet noeg es bedeos. This is true.
Bedeos, yeah.
Yeah, bedeos. It could be opinion, it could be midos, b'tchunos and character traits, attributes the essence of life. Olam, and evidently, if a person has the midos of the Yetzer Hara in a positive way, they'll help a person understand the world. So a person can have a drive to conquer, right? And the Torah itself says, "V'kiv shua," you're supposed to conquer the world, but conquest is usually a bad midah. But to understand the world is a form of a conquest. So that is an idea of havanas olam, maskal semuna, right? Making when someone tells you comes to semuna, b'chinuch klal prati, and a person can have a desire to have an influence, which can border on megalomania, but it's used the right way. It gives a person this drive for chinuch and for in general and specifically for Am Yisrael, for society and for the individual itself. In the refined ambitions of life, of humanity. And I always say, I don't know what I don't think he's not saying this explicitly for sure, but I think this is the idea of Yetzer is Yetzirah, creativity. And forms of creativity come from what's associated normally with Tov and what's associated normally with Ra. And Rabbi Solomon, he has a different approach. It's because the Yetzer Tov is intellect, Yetzer Ra is emotion. And it's the same principle. In other words, there's a certain creativity which comes from the intellect, and creativity which comes to emotion. They have to go together. So there's a certain creativity which comes from trends which are normally good, and they can be abused, and creativity because trends are normally bad, and they can be uplifted and be an impetus for bigger things. So in the Shivas Adino Shalchaim, in the refined ambitious life, Shanushus of humanity, Shanushus of nationalism, Shashlomas Adam Ba'or Tikvasa Oshar Mule, and in completing person in the light of the hope of higher satisfaction. Tor Ha'adir was required all the powers of purity, the mighty purity, Chachma Elyoina has to be mashpia on the Shrashim Tachtim. Matraso shall sod Hashem Eov, and this is the purpose of the secret of God which is given over to those who fear Him. And by sod Hashem here, I don't think it means Kabbalah. It means the idea of being the connectedness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which sparks in the heart. Which conquers for its ways. And again, the idea is that all tools a person has at his disposal can be used to manifest this spark in the heart and bring it into fruition and make it into a flame and a fire. Um, it carves out, digs out well springs on high and well springs below. And sometimes it comes through. It comes. This light comes through various different ways. And I assume to various different people in different ways, and at various different times of life in different ways. Every situation is sometimes some of them the light comes through a Pesach, through a broad opening. Sometimes it comes through a charak, which is a crack. Sometimes it comes through a window, chalon, right? And that light can penetrate into dark places and make those dark places light and make those places functional in a positive way. And I like what he says here, gam derech protzim barisos, also through ruin, through broken breaches, and through ruins. So, like the Leib Nishbar v'Nikeh Elokim Lo Tivzeh, obviously there was light which comes through broken heartedness, even as a result of having sinned, right? Having that's the idea of the light which Hakadosh Baruch Hu gives a person who wants to do tshuva. V'Hakol El Makomo Sho'ef Zorechu. Everything to its place. It tries to return and to illuminate. In other words, even from the person falls or a person is in a dark place, if he tries to unify his lower self with his higher self, because everybody ultimately has a higher self. I think that's axiomatic here. At least Jews have a higher self, which the question is, were you mifatzel it? Did you branch it off? Did you separate it, or you mached it? And if you're mifatzel it, it's not going to have that impact, and all those dark places are going to remain dark. If you're mached it, so then it can come back and it can comes back to its place and it illuminates. So I think this is he says not just what's important in Rav Kook, among other things, is that he says not just an individual level. In many Mussar Sfarim, you'll find this idea at an individual level, but you'll find here it's talking about on a national level, a human level, or humanity on a national level for the Jewish nation. This idea of not to be mufutzal, to be muchad, is something which obviously he felt that he could help facilitate on a national level as well. But it's extremely difficult.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Very
Okay.
good.
That was a
Beautiful.
very nice piece. All
Yeah,
right.
beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay. He said
All right.
you take. It's not like I said. It's not a new idea, but of course the way he expressed it poetically, that's it's inspiring.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Shkoyach.
All right. Take
Take
care.
care. Have a good
All right.
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. Yes. Take care.